We're back. Sorry, no
Ah,
ukulele playing this time. I know you
ah,
loved it last time.
no.
I
Pull it
know.
out.
Sorry. No, she's over there. She's in hibernation. She'll come out next month. However, we are back for our second episode of our second season. And we told you guys in the last episode that this season would be amazing. And we weren't lying because we got one of our favorite people on the pod this week. But let me introduce the podcast first. If you have never listened before, welcome back to the podcast where a current and an ex student athlete sit down with other student athletes and ask the questions that nobody really asks. My name is Ariana Fernandez.
And I'm Maya Falcon. And today, or this week, on today's episode, we have a guest with us. He's a very good friend of both Aaron and I, and he just finished competing at the 2020 Summer Olympic Games for swimming. We have Canadian Olympic swimmer, rising star, someone who never stops flexing in the mirror, but we don't really mind, Josh Liendo.
How's
Yeah.
it going? How
What's
you
up,
guys
Josh?
doing? Doing good.
You
How you
excited?
guys? Yeah.
Okay, roll the intro music.
Well, obviously, Josh, we know you pretty well, I would say. But just for some of the people who don't know you as well as we do, give the listeners a little, I guess, bio of who you are. We know you're a swimmer, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm Josh. As you guys know, I like competing. I enjoy music. I'm a football fan. I've been living in Canada for a little bit. I grew up mainly in Trinidad. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
We love to see it.
Very versatile. I love it.
Yeah. Someone who's more than just a swimmer. That's what we love to see. I think everyone,
Yeah.
every athlete that we encounter that we know of, I think everyone is more than just what they do. You're more than just a swimmer, you're more than an athlete. And that's kind of what we
Yeah.
want to talk about today too, briefly, but we'll get into that later. But we just mentioned that you just competed at the Tokyo Games, and not only did you compete there, it was your Olympic debut. And I'm not even trying to be biased or anything. I think you absolutely killed it. And it was just amazing to see you out there. But for so the listeners can get a better understanding, can you share just a glimpse as to what your journey was like leading up to the Olympics? Because I know the Olympics in itself is just a whole other story, but
Yeah.
what was it like leading up, especially because you had that extra year?
Yeah. I felt that obviously COVID was like a big hit, screwed over training and stuff, especially for Canadians because we were locked down for so long. But just that year leading up, like that was a tough year. But I feel like having that time off of swimming, having that time to grow, not only like physically, but like mentally and just mature really helped me going into the games. So I took a positive out of that time.
For sure. And I think, like I think we talked about it on one of our previous episodes. I can't even remember which one. We talked about I think it was actually with Brittany McLean that we talked about it. We were talking about how this extra time really helped some of the younger athletes like you, like Summer McIntosh, like
Hmm.
I think regardless of the extra year, I personally think you would have made it, but I feel like this extra year, that fifth year really gave you some time to like hone in on your skills and get
Yeah.
better, get bigger, get better.
Hmm.
So, physically, obviously, I think it looked like at least you were in great shape. What
Yeah.
was the mental prep like?
Definitely the mental one was the one that was obviously the hardest. Physically it came a lot easier.
Hmm.
But just like the year we had, we weren't racing. And we're watching all these other countries, having races and just like doing like pretty much a lot of stuff that we weren't allowed to do. So like we do what we could with like the situation that we had, and we made no excuses. But yeah, I'll definitely say the mental prep was the harder one leading into the games. But like we were prepared when we got there mentally and physically. So yeah, it was a good prep all around. I think I handled myself well.
Oh, so, no, I was just gonna say from the outside looking in, like it does look like that, but not everything is always as it seems, right? But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to, use that extra year. But obviously, because of COVID and everything, the 2020 Olympics happened in 2021. So there was like a bit
Yeah.
of a delay there. Do you
Mhm.
think that you benefited from that year? And if so, how?
I'd like 100% I benefited. Like I just feel like just even like I got smarter as an athlete. So I started like thinking smarter and I was training smarter, not just harder. Um so yeah, that just that year to mature was really important. And it helped me focus more on the mental side of competing and like pretty much like my whole life. Like outside of swimming, I just matured and I got better at dealing with everything. So that year and that kind of time off really helped.
I think the maturity is so huge. Like like back when I swam, I would think like thinking about things that I did, and if I were still swimming now, things that I would do differently. You can definitely see the maturity and how that would benefit, and how it does
Mhm.
benefit an athlete. And I feel like not many people realize it until you're mature enough to realize it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things about swimming in particular, too, I think every sport is like this, but swimming as well, everyone likes to say, oh, you got to be physically fit to swim, which is
Mhm.
100% true, but you got to be mentally fit as well. I think, but on the other hand too, I think a lot of people struggle mentally while they swim. They can be in the best shape of their life and you'll
Mhm.
never know that they're struggling on the inside, which I think is crazy. I think the mental prep, especially for a games that is, this hyped up, for a competition that is this known, like it's something that not many people really prepare you for. So
Yeah.
was anything that you changed in terms of mindset to help you kind of cope with the stage that this competition was on?
Yeah, so I try not to think about it too much. I'm never someone that like overthinks things or reads too much or into things and stuff like that. So I didn't really just focus on like swimming all the time. Like when swimming was done, I just kept my mind off it. I didn't let it overwhelm me or anything like that. So that was kind of how I dealt with it. And so yeah, I feel like that's the best way, at least for me, to deal with it. So yeah, I didn't think too much about it while I was away from the pool.
Yeah, which is good. I feel like I think I struggle with this a lot. I know lots of other people do too, but I put way too much pressure on myself and I give the competition and the meet more meaning than it actually has. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's another competition.
Yeah, it's just a swimming. Yeah.
Exactly. You've been doing this, since you were a kid. So it's not nothing you've never done before. It's just
Hmm.
a little bit different in terms of, where it is and the preparation and all that. So, not many people can really wrap their mind around that. I think it's something you have to learn. It's not really something that you're just kind of given. Like you have to like you go through your career and it just kind of I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean, Maya? Like you have to learn how to cope with these things. You have
Yeah.
to you
Yeah.
it's not just like given to you, if that makes
Yeah.
Yeah,
sense.
like nerves and overthinking definitely is something you have to learn.
Yeah.
Learning to deal with pressure is something you have to learn. But yeah, just like you learn and you get better and the goal is to keep improving on those things.
Hmm.
So speaking of pressure, when it came to the Olympics, did you ever feel that there was more pressure than usual because this is such a big competition and everything like that?
No, I was pretty surprised with the way it was. I mean, I felt more pressure at trials to make the Olympic team.
Yeah.
Um, because that was like the big thing I wanted to make. Like I set a goal for myself. And I feel like that was where most of the pressure was. And when I got to the Olympics, it was like I was basically just there and just the excitement took over, right? I just let the excitement get in the way or like take over from any nerves or anything that I would have. And I was there to learn. So I wasn't really focused on how nervous or whatever I was being. I was like trying to see, you know, what I need to do to be up there with the best in the world.
Which is great. That's a great outlook to have because, not many people can take or even go into a competition like that. Like, oh, this is a learning experience. Some people are like, this is make or break. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, that's so true. It is a learning experience. I think you can take so many positives as well as negatives, but you can always learn from them. Like, what was the most rewarding part? I was my question. What was the most rewarding part for you, or the biggest thing you learned at the Olympics?
It's just like, especially for me, someone who's still growing, who still has a long way to go in the sport. It was just understanding where that next level is. I feel like that was really important for me to see. And just like seeing things like just you can't make mistakes at that level. And just seeing where I am with the rest of the world and kind of seeing like what I can fix. So I still got a lot of things to change. And I feel like that was a good thing to see. And I feel like I learned a lot watching that.
I remember watching the Olympics, and Byron McDonald, one of the announcers, was talking about all the youngsters on the team, like you, Gabe,
Mm-hmm.
Finley, and everything, and how 2021, or sorry, the 2020 Olympics were a great opportunity and a great experience for you guys, but your main goals or your sights are really set on 2024.
Yeah.
Because it just allows for a little bit more growth. This 2020 games was more of like the test, like, for lack of a better word, testing the waters.
Yeah.
While you were in Tokyo for these games, were you really focused on 2024, or kind of like where was your head at when, in regards to, like you said, you having so much time left in the sport and so much more to do?
Yeah, no. So when I was at the games, obviously I'm gonna try to do my best, and I'm gonna, basically do the best that I can, and race some of these guys, because I feel like racing was it was a good opportunity, to get to race some of the best in the world. So that's really what I had my mind on while I was there in the meet. Obviously learning, but I still wanted to get up there and compete. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, all of those races that you did, like I'm sure you took away so many things from them, not only like technique wise, whatever, but even just, how did you feel before the race? Just the little things leading up, like warming up, warming down, all those things that, from the meet. I'm sure you're going to take that into the next games,
Mhm.
come 2024. So now that we're post Tokyo and we're kind of in that next, what do they call it? Quadrennial? The
Yeah.
next,
Well, 3 years now.
oh yeah, going into the
Yeah.
next 3 years,
The
Paris
shorter one. Yeah.
2024. How are you feeling, reflecting on Tokyo and now leading up into Paris?
Definitely. The word I'd use is hungry, right? I wanna do a lot better. Like, obviously, I think I had some good performances. I still think I would like to do better at the Olympics. So yeah, now I'm just gonna. I know what the work that I have to put in. So yeah, leading in to these next Olympics, definitely motivated. I'm definitely hungry.
I'm
We love
hungry for you.
Are we thinking at it?
No, what I mean by that is, like, I, like, personally, like, we're so proud of you and we're so happy for you, and you
Thank
did
you.
amazing,
Appreciate it.
that we just know that there's so much more for you to do in this sport. And, like, we were confident in your abilities this games, but next games has yours and so many others names written all over it, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting, and we're so pumped. And we're gonna have to do more episodes with you, just to follow up and make sure that
Yeah, for
you don't
sure.
forget about us.
This journey of yours is absolutely crazy. I'd also like to mention, I think Maya probably was the same way. I'm just super emotional all the time. But when
Yeah.
I was at Olympic trials, I watched Josh's race was actually his first race, the first day. You made the Olympic team the first day. I
Yeah.
think first event, 100
Yeah.
fly. So I
Yeah.
was swimming the same day. And I remember watching your prelim swim, and when you touched the wall, I cried because I knew you already went the qualifying time in the morning, and I was like, well, he's gonna
Mhm.
go faster at night. And
Yeah.
we went to, we got to finals, And I finished my race and I was, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's over with. I just want to watch Josh now. I remember watching Josh. You didn't even walk out yet, and I was already crying. Tears on deck, I'm like, oh God, people are probably looking at me, thinking I'm crazy. And they announce your name, you start walking out, and I'm crying. My teammate beside me is like, Ariana, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm just so proud. Just a mess. And I just cannot wait for people to see what the next Olympic Games, not even the Olympic Games, all these meets leading up to the rest of your career, no one knows what's coming. There's so much heart that goes into it. There's so much hard work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's incredible, like to see how much you devote yourself to the sport is absolutely incredible. And we love to see it.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to train and, swim and train beside Josh for a little bit. And we got pretty close when we swam at North York Aquatic Club together. And even now I can see like you're just one of the hardest working people that I know. You put so much into what you love, and it shows because you're getting all the results that you deserve. And like Ariana said, there's so much more waiting for you, which is so exciting. I'm so pumped. And I'm sure you are too. But so Josh, obviously making the Olympics is no simple task, and you've been very successful with swimming from a very young age, one of the fastest people in Canada for quite some time, but that's not something that's easy to accomplish, and definitely not alone. So why don't you give us some insight into your support system, whether it be family, coaches, teammates, and what that means to you really?
Yeah, I'd definitely say I'm really lucky, like especially when I look at other people, just like my family, the way they support me is just it's crazy. And especially like I've noticed that more and more as I've grown. But just my mom, from it being my mom, because when we moved here, like we didn't know how everything worked in Canada, and she always made sure like I was getting to practice and I was training, and she always pushed me. But yeah, it's definitely great having them, and I like it's definitely like an extra motivation, because we've come so far, and I want to show them that the work that they put in on me is not wasted. So definitely they mean a lot.
No tears here.
This would be the third episode in a row where you have cried, and that's okay. Let the record know that that's okay.
I literally cried for the past 3 episodes.
But that's okay. That is okay. It's real. It's true. It's raw. That's what it is. But
I'm sure it's really no, I just think that's amazing because like I'm one of those people. I love my family, and
they're a big part of it. Yeah,
exactly. And you can't do it alone. When you got both your parents, or even just friends backing you and supporting your dreams and your goals, like I can only imagine. Obviously, it does mean the world, and it just helps you because they remind you that you're not alone in this. Sometimes, obviously, it's just you and that black line sometimes, and it can.
Yeah, and you you definitely can't do it alone. Like there's people to guide you. Like you guys know Murray. Okay, so Murray's my coach. He passed in 2020. But yeah, he was my coach when I moved to Nyack, and right away he just he used to come pick me up when I was at school, like when I couldn't make the practices because school was over at. I remember when he went to talk to Ben to get me in the high performance program. My school was done at 3:15 and they had practice at 3:30, so I wasn't getting to practice on a bus on time. So yeah, he used to wait up and give me a ride. So he's definitely and just someone so selfless. I'll always remember that, who just like always focused on like what he can do for me. And I remember at Murray, I think there was just one time where Murray doubted me a little bit. And I was 14 years old, and I told Murray, I'm like, Murray, I want to go like 54 in this 100 fly. And like they had like a little joke, and I'm like, I don't know if you can go 54 because my time was 56. And they're like, I don't know if you can go 54, like that's really fast. And Eddie like bet me $100, and then I went 54. And I remember from that day, he like whenever I had a goal, he just said, all right, like it's gonna be hard, but he always let me know what I need to do to hit that goal. And yeah, that's something I'll never forget.
Having that kind of relationship with your coach, I think people are very fortunate to have. Not, and I think it's something that not everyone gets to have either. Like,
Yeah.
not everyone gets to be close with their coach. Not everyone gets along with their coach either, you know, and to
Yeah,
have.
I feel, yeah, I definitely, like, I know there's a lot of people that didn't get along with Murray, but I understood Murray. And then people are like, oh, like he's too intense or whatever. And then I went to Ben, I'm like, Murray wasn't intense at all. I don't think you guys understand. You guys understand this sport. But yeah, he was a high performance coach, and he wasn't really, and but he was just in kind of like a club setting, but he's been to like these big meets and stuff like that. And I guess some people didn't understand um, just how he thought. He just had a different mindset on sports. And but I feel like at a young age I was already ready um, to look to the next level, and I feel like that's something he saw in me, which is why he he looked at me, and I guess just wanted to push for me to get to this Olympic team. And um, yeah, he knew that I could go far.
No, for real. Like when it comes to Murray, I have also had the privilege to work with Murray for a bit, and yeah,
He's tough. It's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Like it's special. It took me it took me a little bit to understand Ben too. It's just like your mind is not ready. Just for like sometimes when a coach is that tough, like you can't let it get in your head. Like, and that's something I feel like that's something I learned early. It's just that like if the coach gets pissed off, it's because they know what you can do, right? They know,
See that in you.
yeah, they know what you're capable of. And coaches won't, like, if you're at your limit, I feel like that's when one thing Murray, especially Eddie too, Eddie's another coach at Nike who was with Murray. Like one time, like I wasn't like feeling great, and I was barely like even like moving in practice, and Eddie was like, you all right? Like, you want to sit this one out? And like that's sometimes you can't always keep going. There's a point where, like, especially someone like me, it's hard to admit when I can't keep going, whether it's like injury or whatever, but you have to make sure you take care of yourself. And but yeah, back to Murray and the way he was. Obviously he was very tough, but he was also he was really smart as a coach. And it's just like, and it could be annoying because when there's a coach that's been around so much in swimming, and they're basically like perfectionists, right? When they're looking at an athlete, and it's annoying when a coach is telling, oh, you got to do this, you got to work on your turns, you got to do this, and when you screw up, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? But it's just them wanting to see you improve. And that's something I'm really grateful for in a coach in Murray.
Shout out Murray Drudge.
Shout out Murray Drudge, the GOAT.
Yeah. He's always with you, and I'm sure he'd be very, very proud of you and everything that you've done and have yet to accomplish. So there's nothing to be worried about, and everyone's still got you here. I know your family does. Shout out Josh's family too. They're some of the greatest people that I'm lucky enough to know. Josh too, and
they're amazing.
You got a whole cheering squad. Like we had like a little watch party while you were in Tokyo here, and it was so fun, and we're just so happy for you. And there's just so much more, and
so much more to come.
We'll be with you the whole ride.
Here's the shed.
yeah.
And that's okay. That is a-okay.
Emotional. It's fine.
Now that I've heard a lot from other Olympic athletes that after the games is a really hard time for them, whether it be mentally, physically, whatever it may be. It can be a really hard time, no matter how successful your games were or how happy you are with your performance. But kind of where are you at? Because obviously you've probably had a lot of changes in your life when it comes to media and everything like that. So does it ever get, a little exhausting or a little too much at times and you get a bit overwhelmed? Like, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say even at the Olympics, because I had so many events, like after a couple of days in media, I was like, oh, I have to, after my race, I got to go straight to media and I have to go through this line of media. That's definitely the part of the sport that, I don't enjoy as much. I just like the competing and the racing and, having fun and interacting with, the other athletes and stuff like that. But definitely the media part definitely gets a little repetitive. It's just something that comes with, like, you have to understand, like I had to understand recently, it's something that comes with the success and with the level that I'm at. So yeah.
I think also like I don't think many people realize that, like after you swim and let's say, for example, it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you have to go into that, field of reporters and
Yeah.
basically they're asking you all these questions like, "Oh, what happened in that race?" And you have to kind of keep your composure.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that? Like have you ever gone through like competed and it just didn't go the way you wanted it to go and then you have to go to an interview afterwards? Like what is that like?
Yeah, it's definitely obviously you're thinking about the race and what you could have done better, and you just want to kind of move on to the next race, but you keep getting reminded of it, right? And yeah, it's definitely not an easy thing.
Not to
But yeah.
mention, not to mention that after your race, I don't know about you, but like when I race, I couldn't breathe after my
Yeah, you're
race. I'm
tired.
so tired.
Yeah.
Your
And now you
legs,
have the mask and stuff, so
exactly, like your legs
that's
are
even worse.
burning. And like low
Yeah.
key, that's the last thing you want to be doing is talking about a race that you're not really happy with and
Yeah.
completely out of breath, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely commend all athletes that do that. And, because the media aspect is something that no one will ever understand until you actually live it out, right?
Yeah. It's
So
different. Like, it's hard to see when you're on the outside looking in.
yeah, for real. So post Olympics, we've talked about a little bit how, your life has changed a little bit, but what have you been up to ever since? Because for those of for those that are listening that don't really know, swimming doesn't really have an off season. I
Yeah,
don't
not really.
there's not really one. If there is, it's maybe like a couple weeks in August for club swimmers and everything like
Yeah.
that,
So
because championship
back to
season is
it
like
real quick.
exactly because
Mhm.
championship season's in the summer and then you start up again right in September, late August,
Yeah.
whatever. So you got back what, maybe like a week or two ago now?
Yeah, on the second, third.
Yeah. So what are
Yeah.
you up to? What have you been doing? Are you back training? Are you just chilling? Like what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm taking a little break, just enjoying myself, going to see friends. My birthday was not too long ago, so definitely wanted to take a break. Um, just after all that racing and all, just being at, like, all the way up, just want to come down, and just relax for a little bit. Because obviously, like, after Tokyo, like, I saw my races and like I wanted to just like get right back in, back to the lab. But I thought it was important, just take a little break, get my mind off it, because obviously training can suck sometimes. So down the road, when I'm in a tough stretch, I'm gonna appreciate that I took a little break. So yeah, just in a break right now. Not 100% sure. I'll probably start back training in a little bit, couple weeks. But for now, I'm just relaxing.
I think that's great. I think you need a break.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me or just swimmers or just maybe just athletes in general. I think sometimes people can feel guilty for taking some time off. I know
Mhm.
I get like that sometimes. I was like that just a couple weeks ago. Like after trials, um, I wasn't able to swim, so I was kind of forced to take a break. And then when we got back into it, I was like, my body was telling me to take a longer break. My
Mhm.
mind was saying, okay, yeah, you can get back into it. But my body was saying, no, I think you need some more time. And I got back into it. And then I was like, no, I need to take a break again. And then I got back into it again. And I was like, no, I think I need a longer break because I think I failed to realize that for the past 5 years, it's just been go, 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 go. And for
Yeah.
especially this past year, it's been just training, especially for athletes in Canada. I know Josh can relate to this too.
Yeah.
Swimmers, it's just been training because
Yeah. No meets nothing. Yeah.
exactly. So that's a lot because I think all of us are pretty much used to training competition, training again, competition. You go kind of back and forth with that kind of schedule.
Yeah, training camps and stuff like that and traveling.
Exactly.
So it was definitely just like training in the same place for so long. Definitely need a break. And I mean, everyone's different. Everyone's going to need more time. Some people, feel like they don't need as much time. But yeah, just whatever you need, because when you're back into it, you want to be all in and focused on what you have to do.
Exactly. I completely agree. I think I'm also one of those people, like, if I'm doing something, I want to be invested. I want to be fully invested in it.
Yeah,
My
you have
heart,
to.
my mind, my body, my soul, I want everything to be there. And if one thing is out, like my mind, I can't do it. It's just
Yeah.
not, I know, because I know I'm not giving my full effort. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the most frustrating things. Like when you don't give yourself that kind of break, you're just not able to do it full heartedly. And that's really
Hmm.
frustrating too. So I think it's important to recognize, when you need a break and how to recover properly, not only physically, but mentally too.
I feel guilty for asking for time off for work.
Yeah.
Like it's not just sport. Like
Yeah.
like even work.
Athlete, didn't you?
Yeah, or even school. Like there are times when I know that I don't really need to be doing schoolwork. Like I have time for a break, but during that break, I'm like, oh, I should just do it, just get it over with. But with time comes that peace with taking a break and
Yeah.
being okay with it and knowing that in the long run, even short term, it's better for you because everybody needs a break, no matter how hardworking you are. Breaks are deserved, and it's important for the mental, the physical, and just even like your passion. It does good for your passion. Like you just need a
Hmm.
break from that as well. um it's good in all aspects for an athlete and just even just an employee. I guess is what I'm trying to say, just anybody in general.
Because you get burnt out. You get
You do, yeah,
so
it's a real thing.
so much of the same thing can just absolutely ruin you, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so important to take even just a little step back, like even if it's just for a day or two, like
Yeah.
just like getting your mind back in the right space, because you can't I'm a firm believer in the fact that I don't think you can work when you're not into it. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Like,
it's not
yeah.
not only it's not productive work, but it's not work that you can be proud of, I think. And I
Yeah.
think that's definitely that inner athlete in me. Like I said it before, but like if I'm doing something, I want to be invested in it because I want a certain result out of it. And I know if I can't get that result if I'm not putting in everything that I have.
Yeah, and people underestimate how much of a mental game it is. I
Sure.
don't think people really understand. Even like your mood can determine how you train. If you're happier or in you, even how you do at a meet, right? If you're happier and if you're just everything in your life is going better, you'll have a better swim, you'll have better training days compared to when you're not, right? That's kind of what off days are, is when not everything's clicking. So yeah, I don't think people understand that the mental game is probably more or just as important as the physical part.
100%. I completely agree.
But yeah, I think all of that is so important, and I think a perfect example of that is another athlete from the 2020 Olympic Games, and that's Simone Biles. I remember getting pissed at her for, I don't even know what they were pissed at her for.
For what?
But
Freaking out because she
yeah,
mentally wasn't in the right space. Like, I think that's just ignorance right there. And I
yeah,
think lots of people commend her for that, because I read an article and they were saying, it takes a lot to put your ego aside. She is one of the best athletes, best, let alone best gymnasts in the world of all time. And,
yeah,
to be at that, with so much pressure, with so much expectation out of one person, to take a step back and be like, I really can't do this right now. I don't care what anyone
Hmm.
says. And not only that, she gave other people the opportunity to compete in her place. And that is
Yeah.
also, that's everything you can want from an athlete. It's great
Hmm.
sportsmanship. It's what you need out of an athlete of that kind of caliber, like it takes a lot of heart to do that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
speaking of taking a break from swimming and just something that's a big part of your life, I have a question that may rock the waters a little bit, but does it ever
Hmm.
get exhausting being asked by everybody, oh, how's swimming, because to them you're Josh the swimmer, like that's what they
Yeah.
know you for. Does that ever get exhausting?
Yeah, it's definitely like definitely one person who's not I'm not like so attached to the sport where it's like when I leave I'm still always thinking about swimming. I like to, have a life outside. Um and yeah, just I don't always want to talk about swimming. I always want to, kind of be reminded of swimming. When I'm in it, I'm all in. But yeah, I feel like um I wouldn't say it's exhausting, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. Just like here and there asking questions about swimming, like I'm fine. Asking about how I did or the experience and stuff like that. It's cool to be able to talk to people about that. But yeah, I don't always relate my life to swimming. I'm not like attached to the sport, but it's definitely something I enjoy, the sport. But yeah, yeah.
I always like to say, swimming is part of who you are, but it isn't who you are. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I think there's so many things outside of a sport that can make you who you are. Obviously, I think swimming, especially, it just teaches you so much about, you. And I think it also contributes to, your work ethic too as a person.
Yeah.
There are so many swimmers who are just so successful because of the sport, like that's what swimming itself teaches you.
Mhm.
But I guess kind of beyond swimming, in your career life, if you've even ever thought of it, what do you hope to accomplish outside of the sport?
Like when I'm done,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like sport in general. I feel like I would still want to be around sport where it's like whether it's a trainer or a coach or whatever, but I definitely want to just be involved and at least even a little bit in something athletic because that's just who I am at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see it.
Josh wants to study marine biology.
Oh yeah, I also I like marine biology too. Yeah, I like sea life and stuff like that. I grew up in the Caribbean, so I like the water, I like the ocean. That's definitely something that I enjoy a lot too. So yeah, that's definitely part of it. Yeah, and like both those things, I wanna obviously down the road I'll probably know a little bit better what I want to do in the future. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now in terms of that.
And
He's
there's no rush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's a man of many talents.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
So if anyone has any idea how you can combine marine biology with sport, let Josh know.
Yeah.
Let him know what's up. Well, we are wrapping up here. Thank you so much for your time, Josh. But we, of course, have two final questions for you. The first one is a little more serious. The second one is
Mhm.
a little bit more lighthearted. But
Yeah.
our first question for you is, what does the sport of swimming mean to you?
Um, yeah, I mean swimming is it's an amazing sport. I feel like just sports in general. I just love um just like anything like competing or just going out and doing something, getting exercise. That's something that I really enjoy. Swimming is just like an escape. It sounds like cliche, but I can just focus on just me and what I'm doing, and not I don't try not to focus on things that are outside. But yeah, it's something that I really enjoy. I enjoy competing. Sometimes I enjoy training, sometimes I don't. Uh, but yeah, it's like, and I one of my favorite things, like especially when I go away to meets, like overseas, just like meeting the people that you meet. That's something that I find is really cool, and the places that you get to go because of the sport. That's something I really enjoy.
Love that. I'm going to have a follow-up question for that one. Do you think you like the process or the outcome more? Which one do you like more, I should say?
The process is definitely I feel like I like the process. I like just like the little setting goals. Obviously there's always a big goal that you set, but you can set that at any time. And the little goals, it's like it's more pressure for you to hit them and doing those goals and hitting, more and more is that's the satisfying part of the journey. So I'd definitely say the process makes the outcome more rewarding. So yeah, that's I definitely say the process is part that I like more.
Love that. I love that. Great answer.
Well, Josh, this has been great. We're not done yet, but this conversation's been really good, and we're happy we're finally able to get you on the pod. We've been wanting you on the pod for a while, but we didn't want to interrupt your Olympic prep or anything like
Yep,
that.
I'm
So
here.
we're happy. We're happy we
Not
were
busy
able to finally
anymore.
get this. But we do have one very important question for you.
Mhm.
The last question of today's episode. But do you okay, I'm gonna ask you two questions. Do you listen to music behind the blocks?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're behind the blocks, or just in general, what is your go-to hype song?
My go-to hype song? Ooh.
Yeah.
Feel free to
Just
pull out your
DMX,
phone.
man. I just need some DMX
Yeah.
to hype me up. Yeah, I listen to some rap and just some hype songs, but yeah.
Give us your favorite DMX song.
Intro by DMX, one that
Intro?
Mike Tyson walked out to.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. That's
crazy.
going on the playlist.
Ooh.
This has been great. We are so thankful to have you on the podcast finally, Josh. Thank you so much for devoting some of your off time to us. We really appreciate you and everything that you do in and out of the pool. You are a star and we love you and we can't wait to see what you do in the future, and we're always going to be rooting for you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for sitting down with us. But listeners, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode. We will see you next time. Not next week, because remember, we're just going with the flow. And we
We'll see you when we see you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for the support. Thank you for making it through this episode. But we will see you next time on a podcast where we ask the questions that
nobody asks. Bye.
Later.